You're listening to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast with your hosts, Chad and Dale.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
And we're coming in tonight to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs winning Game 2 and being up 2-0 over the defending champ Florida Panthers.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Wow. Just wow.
I just gotta say, and after all, you're my Joseph Wall.
Yes, we are going to get into Joseph Wall, and I've got a whole ton of other stuff to get here to tonight after the Leafs win Game 2, 4-3, and take a 2-0 series lead heading back to Florida. Chad, I got a bunch of stuff here. I'm going to give it to you off the top, man. I'm going to give it to you for once. I'm a little speechless. You take it. Let's have the first segment. Your thoughts. Take it.
Here are my thoughts on the game right now. The Leafs, we knew coming into this game that Florida was going to come at Toronto. It was going to be a different game. Joseph Wall's in net. Stolarz is not.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I found about this team, Dale? That's a little different than years past. You named the last video this. They bend, but they don't break.
Is that not it?
Did you not see that tonight?
Oh,
Florida took a 1-0 lead. You're like, oh, God, Joseph Wall. Matt Murray's on the bench, your boy.
More.
Then they tied it. Every time Florida took the lead, they tied it. And even when Florida tied it up, 30 seconds later, Mitch Marner scores. Like, they bend, but they don't break.
Yeah.
That was such a great title for the last video. And I know that's you took it from, I think, Matthew Nyes.
Interview.
Yeah, Matthew Nyes interview.
I probably should have saved that for tonight, but anyway, I'll call it something else.
But that's all I kept thinking watching the game. Like, the calmness that Berube brings behind the bench has just rubbed off on the team. That's what she said.
Yeah.
And it just, they can go down 1-0. They go down 2. They bend, but they don't break. It's unreal. It's like, I can't believe they won 2 games against Florida. They didn't do that back in 2023.
Oh, no.
And they put 5 goals in Game 1 and 4 goals in Game 2 against Bobrovsky.
Not the best right now. I mean, still a long ways to go here. They still need to win 2 more games, but now the Panthers are in a situation where they got.
Could there be any better scenario to be in?
No, it's a great scenario. I love their poise. I love the way they're playing, and not perfect. Like, there was times here where I'm okay, whatever. The second period was absolutely bananas.
They won that second period 2-1. And they weren't that good in the second period.
No, after Marchand got the early goal for Florida, I'm like, oh, fuck, really? Come on, guys. Like, what are you doing here? They didn't have a great first period, but they hung around. And you're right. Like, just everything you just said there, 100%, 100%. So, all right, let's dive into this baby a little bit here. And we had something very special happen tonight that we haven't had in a long time. Definitely not in a playoff game anyway, but a ton to get to here, but let's start with, you mentioned the goaltending. So minimum a week for Stolarz. The earliest he could possibly be back would be Game 5, but we'll see where the series is at that point. Are we still playing? Are we not? Who knows what's going on? How well Joseph Wall is playing. Like, so there's a lot of like, we kind of did say, like, they're probably going to use both goalies in the playoffs. That's exactly what's happening here. I think we will see Stolarz again at some point, but as of right now, it's Joseph Wall's net. And I don't think he had his best game tonight, but by no means was it like a disaster. Like, the guy hasn't played hockey in quite some time, right? So I think next game he'll be better. I think next game you might see Wall's best game, which only makes things better. Yeah. Like, I think Wall will get better the deeper this goes. So I don't really have concerns in net.
He made some huge saves.
Other than, you mentioned off the top, our boy, the big dog, Murdoch. Backing up. Thank God. Why do you think they went with Hildebeest like when Stolarz left the game on Monday, why did Hildebeest go in as the backup instead of Murray? I thought that was odd. Like,
Yeah, I don't know, but I understand why they went with Murray.
No. Sorry. I think I know. I think he was Hildebeest was labeled as like the third goalie, like the e-bug in that situation. So I don't think they had a chance to go with, like, I think on paper,
Probably right.
Started, it was Hildebeest was penciled in like he'll be the guy coming down. So tonight, when they knew Wall was starting, obviously I'm like, it's got to be Murray. The guy's played 50 fucking playoff games. He won 2 Stanley Cups in a row.
Yep.
So you never know. You never know, man.
I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember we did a podcast like back in November or something? I don't know when it was, but you came up with this scenario where we get to the playoffs, we get to like the second round, we get to an important game, and Matt Murray has to make the start because of injury or whatever. And you're like, and Matt Murray takes us to the Stanley Cup.
And can you believe that is on the table?
Every time Florida was bumping Wall, I was like, oh my God.
Dude, that is
we might see Matt Murray.
That is 100% on the table right now.
Yeah,
100% on the table. So
you gotta stop predicting Matt Murray shit, because every time you do, it comes true.
Well, okay, but like, what if it works out though? What if Murray, like, it's
but
Wall,
you always keep him in the mix.
We
talk about Stolarz and Wall, and then you're always like, but maybe Murdoch.
He's just waiting in the wings, right? So like, I got one prediction right with Murray. I thought in training camp, I'm like, Murdoch will play a game before Christmas. He did. He snuck one in there, and then look, like,
then you made a prediction that we'd see him in the playoffs, and we are one injury away from seeing him.
You never know. Would it be the worst thing? The guy's pedigree. It would be
the worst thing.
It would be the worst thing.
Yeah.
I don't.
You think Wall was rusty when he came in?
I know. No, I know. But the pedigree, the 2 Stanley Cup, like, do you think Murray would be phased if they had to put him in net? 2 Cup. He had incredible numbers in the AHL this year. Incredible numbers. The guy knows how to fucking win. Murdoch, you're my boy. You're my boy.
We're gonna brush this away. I don't want to talk about Murdoch anymore.
I don't want to see
him. The more you talk about
him,
the more he pokes his head. He peeks his head around the corner.
No, I don't want to see him, but you're like, it's right there. It's right there at our fingertips. You never know. But Chad, does it fucking matter if they have to turn to Murray and he fucking stands on his head? We're not going to give a shit anyway. We're not going to care.
I know. It's just it's the likelihood would he stand on his head.
Well, I mean, talk about wanting to seize the fucking moment. Like, you want to get back in the league, like, for real. Well, you take the Leafs to the promised land. That's going to do it. That's going to fucking do it.
I don't want to see him in the net, but I don't mind him on the bench. Like, I kind of like having the Stanley Cup winner as the backup goalie.
Sure. Yeah. Anyway. First thing I want to go to here is, we talked about this during the Ottawa series, early in the series. I think maybe game 2 after they went up 2-0. And here we are again in the exact same position. I can't believe it. But I can't believe it, really. But here we are, 2-0 lead on the Florida Panthers, defending Stanley Cup champions. Brad Treliving, man. Gotta give some love to Tree, because I think you look at this game tonight, Tree's fingerprints all over it. Lawton. Lawton. Like, Lawton's played well. That's not even who I meant to say. Lorentz, big game by Lorentz, a Treliving guy. Tanev, what the fuck can you say? Huge. The block shots, absolutely incredible. Chris Tanev. And Max Pacioretty, hello, ding dong, hello, Max Pacioretty. What? This guy's like turning back the fucking clock every night. Treliving. Think about, like, go ahead, take a second there. Like, all Treliving guys that are having a massive impact on the playoffs.
Yeah. You have to include Berube too.
Well, sure. Yeah. Okay, sure.
The way this team plays, like, the difference that I see, I was listening to a podcast, and the guys were getting really deep into the stats, and they were like, well, they had more hits in last year's playoffs than they do in this playoffs. So not really. I'm like, playing a tough team game doesn't mean like it doesn't always mean you're just hitting everything in sight. Like it's the way
but they are hitting.
They're hitting, but it's like, the hit counter, how many hits. That's what they were talking about. But
I thought they've had a high amount of hits.
Yeah, that's not the point. My point is that what was frustrating me about that conversation was not that, like, if you actually count the hits, they've hit less than they did last year. That's what they were getting at. But my point is the way Treliving built this team, the way he built the defense, the way Berube has them playing, it's like a toughness as a group, like blocking shots, killing, pushing everybody to the outside, killing cycles, something that they never did under Keefe. They never did that. And I know they got hemmed in a lot tonight against Florida, and it was pretty dicey in the last minute. But you're right. Treliving's fingerprints are all over this. It's more of a calm, cool, collected group in their own end.
Oh, God. Yeah, and I do I think a lot of that. Well, yes, it is the guys on the ice, but I do think a lot of that is the guy behind the bench as well, without a doubt.
It's his attitude. It is like dripping into all the players.
Yes, it is
what he brings to it. And even in the post game, like Paul Maurice, God, he just loves to talk.
Yeah,
and
he
goes like on and on and
I like him as a dude, but come on, Paul. In the press conferences, just cut the fucking shit.
But Keefe used to do that. Keefe used to do like 15-minute long press conferences and go on and on and on. Berube keeps it light. He doesn't get too riled up in the press conferences. It's just whatever he's doing is like it's showing on the ice. We're finally seeing like everything that we watched through the regular season is coming to life right now. They bend, but they don't break.
Yep, 100% right. So I'm going to break a few things down, and then we'll get into some more like finer things as we go here. I'll just start. In the first period, I thought that they were not crisp in the first period at all. Sloppy plays, bad passes. They did not look good. 0 for 2 on the power play in the first period. McMahon, stupid fucking penalty. Florida scores right away. Didn't love their first period. Like, it wasn't horrendous or anything, but they got out of it, tied at 1. Big part of that was
1 for 3 on the power play in the first period.
Was the Pacioretty. And here we go. Okay, sorry. So here we go. We haven't had one of these in a while, Chad. I think you know what this is. The Pacioretty goal. You want to tee it up? We're going to do it right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Just the Tip.
Perhaps play a little game called Just the Tip. Just for a second, just to see how it feels.
How about we play a little game called Just the Tip?
One thing a veteran with just a dirty beard can bring you in the playoffs is a good hard tip.
Dude, this guy, I've just been so impressed with Pacioretty.
He's getting better every game.
Oh, my God. Once he got back into the lineup, I've just been so impressed. At least get a power play late after being 0 for 2 on their first 2. They get a power play late in the first, and here we go. Just the tip. Pacioretty, point shot from Morgan Riley. What does Pacioretty do? Through the legs. Welcome to the club, Patchy. Welcome to the club. I don't think he had one all year. And what a time to fucking get your first tip in as a Toronto Maple Leaf to put tied the game at 1. Yeah. Pacioretty with that power play goal with an absolutely between the legs tip in. Think he's done that before?
Oh, yeah. Then he looked right into the camera after the goal.
He did.
Yeah, you stick your shaft down between your legs and you tip it top shelf, and then you go over and you stare down the camera. That is, that's veteran. That's got veteran written all over it. This guy's been here, done that.
Incredible play. Look, we don't see a ton. Well, we haven't seen as many tip-ins nearly this year as in previous years, but especially the playoffs. Like, it's not a common thing. Like, the point shots will find their way through every now and then.
And usually a rebound or a crazy goal.
It'll go off a shin pad or like whatever. Sometimes it goes off a shaft. Sometimes it goes off a knob, whatever, right? But dude, Pacioretty, incredible goal to tie it at 1 at the going into the first intermission, 1-1. Guys, we're going to be back with a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to talk about Domi. We're going to talk about secondary scoring. Tanev, more on winning faceoffs, shot blocks, but right now, or blocking shots, but here we go right now. Tippin' Maple Leafs podcast. We have partnered up with the Hockey Podcast Network and DraftKings. Chad's going to tell you about it right here or right now.
So as you can tell, the regular season in both the NBA and the NHL, it's over. And now the fun begins as we're enjoying because it's playoff time. All the high stakes drama, the clutch moments, the jaw dropping plays, they're here. So if you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. They're the official sports betting partner of the NBA and the NHL. Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30 points? Will they get 3 goals? Who knows? It's your call. And here's something special. Listen up for all you first timers. Download the DraftKings app, use code THPN, bet $5, and get up to $200 in bonus bets instantly. Make it a playoff run to remember, like the Leafs are doing right now.
Yes.
With the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download it, use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers. Bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets only at DraftKings, where the crown is yours.
There you go. Love that. Off the opening face-off in the second period, right off the opening draw, Florida gets it deep in the Leafs zone. Leafs cannot get the puck out. Riley can't take his man. Marchand beats Wall high. Florida led it 1-0. And then here we go again. We were just talking about this fucking guy, Pacioretty, again. Just in on everything lately. It seems like Pacioretty in on everything lately. 2-on-1 with Nylander. Willie scores to tie it at 2. And it's like, okay, bend but don't break. Like you said, I can't believe I titled the last podcast that, because it should have. We're running all over it tonight. Should have did it tonight. But anyway, Pacioretty again. Like, I think he deserves another minute, Chad, of our time here, because that 2-on-1, he gets it over to Willie. Willie's now all of a sudden, Willie's fucking red hot. Willie's red hot. Pacioretty looks incredible. Do you want to just take a second there? Pacioretty and Willie. So they tie it at 2 there after the Panthers score early. Do you want me to continue, or do you want to talk about Patch and Willie for a second here?
I mean, there's not much to say. It was a great play. Willie is red hot. They said the shooting percentage is 26%. That's fucking unreal. Unreal how high that is.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. I will say this just to go back to the Florida goal. They need to come up with an answer for that third line.
Oh, yeah.
That third line is dominating Toronto.
They are. They're doing a hell of a job with the first 2 lines, though.
They are, yeah. Like, you don't hear much about Kachuk or Barkov or Reinhardt or Bennett. Like, they're keeping them pretty low key. Yep. Oh, God, that Marchand line is like, it is just killing Toronto.
They are, well, yes, they are eating them up. I totally agree. But again, so Pacioretty in on everything. Nylander continuing to put the puck in the net. Great signs all around there. Am I missing? Did that tie it at 2? I think it did. And then the Leafs get the go-ahead goal.
Domi.
Goal. Domi and Lawton 2-on-1. Lawton gets the puck over to Domi. He buries it. And the Leafs take a 3-2 lead. Here's what I would say on this. Like, I know Nylander's been contributing, and and Mitch got a goal tonight. I'll get to that. But secondary scoring, guys that, Pacioretty, Pacioretty and Domi get a goal tonight. And just previous games, whatever. Like, going back to,
they've scored huge goals. Like, Pacioretty scored the game winner in game 6. Domi scored the overtime winner. They have bigger goals than Austin Matthews has in this.
Benoit in overtime in game 3. So, like, going back to prior seasons, Chad, like, the secondary scoring, we have not had that. We just have not had it. We relied so strongly on Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, whatever. Tavares and Austin not putting it in right now. Willie is. Mitch gets a big goal tonight. But the secondary scoring is where I wanted to go there. Do you want to talk about that?
And I think you're right. I think the secondary score, and you need that because the top 2 lines are kind of not Nylander. I should say the top lines they're washing each other out. A lot of the top players in the series.
Sorry, would you throw Nyes into the secondary scoring or not anymore? Like,
yeah, I would throw him in. If you take him out of like the core guys, like I would put Matthews and Marner at the top. But when they beat Tampa and then lost to Florida in 2023, I mean, they had secondary scoring, like Ryan
No.
O'Reilly, Achari, Kerfoot popped in a big
Yeah, okay.
overtime winner.
Okay.
Like they had secondary scoring. The difference with this one is I think it's more dependable. Like I think this secondary scoring, the old Kerfoot and those guys, I felt like once in a while, but I feel like Domi, Pacioretty, I feel like these guys could actually go deep with their
Yeah.
runs. Like I think they could provide a lot of scoring to win a few rounds. Where I felt like Kerfoot, he'd get an overtime goal, then you're like, well, we won't see him again for the rest of the play.
Exactly.
It's a different type of secondary scoring. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But like, yeah, so Pacioretty, Domi, like Nyes, if you want to consider Nyes a secondary scorer. Like, I mean, it's just I don't think we've had this. I know you just mentioned a few guys, but the whole thing just looks fucking drastically different. The timely goals, like the way they're putting them in, just everything. I'm just like, oh my God, it's like 34 can't fucking really buy one. And Pacioretty's just like every night now, he's just like, yeah, okay, like,
yeah.
Watch this, boys. And keep in mind, Pacioretty, former captain of the Montreal Canadiens for several years. It's not this, the leadership ability of Max Pacioretty is like through the fuck off the charts, right? Like he's a leader. Like he's an absolute leader.
Absolutely. He's a leader. But also like, in a series like this against Florida, where it is a lot dirtier and rougher than it was against Ottawa, his size. You ain't seen nothing yet, but his size comes in so handy. Like him
Monster. He's huge.
And it helps Willie too. I was actually thinking about it tonight because like Willie and Pacioretty and Tavares are so hard on the puck and so good in the corners.
Yeah.
Where on Matthews' line, it's basically just Nyes.
Oh,
like Marner won't take a hit to get into the play.
No, he won't.
And I was thinking that I was like, would Matthews be scoring more if he had like kind of what he had a couple years ago, where he had two guys who would get gritty in the corners?
I would say 100%.
Like if he had another Matthew Nyes on the other wing, I know it's not his skill level of Mitch, but would that break him out of his slump?
I would say 100%. If Pacioretty was playing up there instead, I would say 100%.
I was just watching, thinking. I mean, if you put Nick Robertson in this, he would get knocked off the puck so easily. Pacioretty's just no fear going into at his age, no fear going in the corner. And those Florida, they take dirty hits. They take dirty hits.
Well, look at the second period, like how many like the refs just were like, they called a couple weak ones. The Holmberg one, I thought very weak. And then
the embellishment penalty.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Fair.
What was
but
that?
then, but after those calls, that was basically it. They were just like, okay, just play and see what. There probably could have been another 4 or 5 calls both ways easily. Refs were like, no, just go for it. Like they were just they were calling crazy dumb things, and then they were just calling absolutely.
Nothing.
No brainer penalties. They're just like, no.
Holmberg went in on the 2-on-1, I think, with Willie. He got like taken down so hard. Like the guy, I forget who the defenseman was, took his hand off the stick, basically grabbed him by the neck and threw him to the ice. Man, that's not interference.
No.
But that's my point, is that the refs, you saw it in the Ottawa series, a lot of penalties in the first few games, and then they let them go. Yeah. That's what Florida wants, because Florida plays on the edge better than any other team in the NHL. They play on that edge of dirty and rough. Pacioretty, it doesn't phase him. It doesn't phase Matthew Nyes. It doesn't phase Max Domi. And maybe that's the difference in the secondary scoring. They're not phased by that shit.
No, they're not. They don't seem to be phased by it. So anyway, Florida ties it at 3. I think we're in the third period here. Leafs came right back. Marner, high wrister from the point. Who's your daddy? Mitch Marner. High wrister right after Florida scored to tie it.
They were announcing the goal.
Next shift. They hadn't even announced it yet. Next fucking shift on the ice. Marner, high wrister from the point to retake the lead 4-3. They said this stat on the broadcast. I don't know if you heard it, or maybe I got this wrong, but Cuthbert, I'm pretty sure, said first time Mitch Marner has scored a goal in the third period of a Stanley Cup playoff game. Did you hear that?
No, but that would be believable. We talked about that in the playoff pre-show, and I said that. Like
8
Marner
years, brother. 8
he
years.
He has a lot of points because a lot of Mitch Marner defenders, when it comes to his playoff game, will be like, he leads the team in points. But we said that. He has a lot of cookie points, a lot of points in early games, and a lot of points early in games.
Huge goal. Huge goal.
Massive. Great shot, too.
Up high on Bobrovsky. Again, they were doing on some of the intermission, or it might have been the pre-show tonight, where they were doing like they were showing the goals that have gone in on Bobrovsky. Down low, I think he's been beaten like 4 times, like 2 and 2, like high or 5 holes, short side, whatever. Up high, he's let in like 12. So like the recipe is like you shoot high on,
they're doing that.
And they are doing that big time. You shoot high on this guy, you got a good chance that it's going in the net. So anyway, but I just thought that stat was very interesting. The first time, and I might have it wrong. But I'm pretty sure they said first time Mitch has scored in the third period in a fucking playoff game ever.
Yeah.
In the NHL. So,
I'm trying to think. I can't think of one. There wasn't one in the Ottawa series, so I can't think of one.
No, I'm going back of like the whole.
No, I know. I'm just trying to think in recent memory if I remember Mitch scoring like tonight was a big goal. It was the game-winning goal. Do I remember him doing that? Normally, when you score in the third period, unless you're way ahead or getting killed, it's a big goal.
Yeah,
and I don't remember it. No,
so
maybe you are right.
They said something like that. It anyway. Whatever. Couple quick things before we get out of here. I know we talked off the top about Treliving and the guys that he brought in, but we have to narrow it down to one guy right now on the defense. You want to let's combine these two subjects: Chris Tanev and blocked shots. This fucking guy. Are the Leafs where they are right now without Chris Tanev?
No,
I don't think so. This fucking guy. Like it's hard to pin. I'll give it to you in a second. It's hard to pinpoint like, oh, this one treat like Stolarz, Tanev. Like it's hard to pinpoint one, but he
might be the most important.
I don't know, dude. Like I mean, what does this team look like without him?
Not good.
And shout out to McCabe as well. Like the pairing has been incredible. But specifically Tanev, McCabe's played his best hockey of his career this year. No surprise, his fucking D partner's Chris Tanev.
Yeah.
Chris Tanev, Chad, go ahead. Incredible.
Well, you can see why Treliving wanted this. He wanted this guy the second he came to Toronto.
How bad did he want Chris Tanev?
He wanted Chris Tanev so bad. And I said this before when we did our playoff preview before the playoffs started on the podcast. I was like, if they were to if Chris Tanev were to come back to Toronto in 10 years and they were going to show like, they do the montage of his highlights, it would just be block shots,
eating shots all day,
and breaking up cycles and, hitting guys in the corner, diving. And he's so calm with the puck. I'll be perfectly honest with you. When Treliving had a big hard on for Chris Tanev and remember he was thinking about giving up a first round pick for him and trading for him.
Yeah.
I was like, you're crazy. He's 37 years old.
He tried to get him over
that's what I'm saying.
He just wouldn't trade with Tree.
But he like the second he got to Toronto, he's like, I gotta have this guy on my team. And I was like, oh, you can't give up a first round pick. I think I said that on the podcast. But now that I've seen him for a whole season, I'm like, okay, Brad, I get it.
And I get it, Brad. And they paid him a lot of money to come here.
Worth every penny.
Like he's
underpaid, man. He is underpaid.
6.4, I think, something like that for like 6 years. Like they paid him for a guy who's well into his 30s. They paid him a boatload to come here.
Yeah.
But look at what he does.
He's underpaid.
Look what he does on the fucking ice, man. The goal line, the puck was sitting on the was that McCabe that pulled the puck?
That was McCabe.
Both of them did it at 2 separate times. There was a shot, Wall made the save, and then Tanev was right there to like use his stick to get it into the corner.
That was Matthews.
No, it was Tanev.
It was Matthews.
Okay, I thought it was Tanev.
It was Matthews, and I'm pretty sure it was Matthews. And McCabe, he threw it out with his glove.
Yeah. Anyway, shout out to that pair, specifically fucking Tanev. Like the guy's a fucking beast.
Yeah.
Do you want to go out on just the shot blocks? I think are incredible, and they're winning a lot of draws.
They quadrupled Florida's shot blocks.
Like it's just incredible how the buy-in has happened to how many shots they're blocking.
Yep.
And so you can't look at the game overall without looking at the shots, the amount of shots they're blocking, and the amount of faceoffs they're winning. Like, they are winning draws left and fucking right. So they're starting with the puck all the time. Look, this wasn't a Picasso, but who gives a fuck? We have a 2-0 lead on Florida, whatever. But
I don't ask how.
Do you want to just go out on the overall team buying into blocking shots, huge face-off wins, and we can go out on that for tonight?
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. But it's kind of been their game plan all year. You're not going to block shots like you do in the playoffs, but pushing everything to the outside and blocking the shots. And let's be honest here, okay?
Yeah.
If you're sitting in the room and you're a player on this team and Craig Berube walks up to you and says, hey, you should probably block some shots, what are you going to say? I don't want to.
Then he'll sit down beside you with the iPad and he'll be like, look at when I played here, okay? Early 90s, late 80s,
Here's
whatever.
me beating the shit out of this guy. Here's me beating the shit out of this guy.
This is what I did to help teams win. The least you can fucking do is put your body in front of the goddamn biscuit, boys.
I remember watching Jordan Binnington in a thing about St. Louis Blues run to the Stanley Cup. And he was like, he talked about Berube and he said the way he talks, the way he gets, you will do anything that he wants. Like, he just gets you to buy in, and you can see it in the block shot. When has the Toronto Maple Leafs ever been the block shots team?
It's crazy, dude. The whole thing is crazy right now. It's crazy.
But let's enjoy it, man. Let's just enjoy this. We are 2 wins away from the third round, and I'm not going to get ahead of myself.
No.
But like, we have a 2-0 series lead in the second round over the Stanley Cup champs. If you get a split in Florida, you have a chance to knock them out in Toronto.
Go get a fucking split in Florida, and let's fucking go, baby.
Let's fucking go. Let's enjoy this. For the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, don't forget to follow us on social media at the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. Email us tipinpodcast@gmail.com. Send us some videos. We haven't got videos in a while. Like, rant about the team. Not even bad. Say how proud you are.
Just give us your thoughts on how this is playing out right now.
And you can follow, if you're watching on YouTube, you can hit like, hit subscribe. If you're listening on a podcast right now, like let's say you're on Apple or Spotify or Castbox, leave a 5-star review, because it really helps us when people are searching for podcasts. The more reviews we have, the more it will pop up in the algorithm. And until next time, I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
We will.
Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you after what should be an incredible Game 3 back in Florida on Friday night, when the Leafs have a chance to do something that I can never recall them doing, and that's in my lifetime, and that is take a 3-0 series lead in the second round and push the defending Stanley Cup champions to the brink of elimination. It should be incredible. We'll see you Friday night. Catch you later. You're listening to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast with your hosts, Chad and Dale.